outside with Lewis to take a walk.
KC.
And the KC fans were waiting for the KC, and they were chanting, Vladdy's gonna kill you.
Vladdy's gonna kill you.
Vladdy's gonna kill you.
Vladdy's gonna make fun of you, little fraud.
What's his wave gonna do with Yike coming in and twisted advance, flash away charm, hits a minion! You didn't like that, I saw your face as Vladdy picks up kill number 2. Cutting that angle, thinks about it, but twisted advance catches him first, Bramble smash, he's destroyed!
Play, we play, don't be scared. We have to got a W still. I chase, okay? Look at it, Look at this, no flash, no flash. Keep going.
And welcome back to the Marriott Bonvoy post-game check-in after the second win for Karmine Corp here in LEC 2025 against Koi, nonetheless. And we know that France versus Spain is always a matchup that we're looking forward to seeing. Targamas, Yike, congratulations on taking this one.
Thank you.
I heard that Jojo has been talking a lot and putting you last in the standings. Do you have anything to say?
I mean, after this performance he just did on Ari, I think there's not much to say, honestly.
Humbleness. And I mean, you guys did enough on the Rift, honestly, today. How important was it to win this game? Yike, you're the latest newcomer to this Spanish-French rivalry. How is it to be on the winner's side?
It's amazing. I'm very happy with this game. Like, obviously, the G2 match yesterday was important for me,
yeah.
But this one is also very important, I think, for the org. The Keiko versus Koi, it's going to be a big rivalry, and I'm happy that we won this one.
So G2 yesterday, Koi today, a very different look from what we've seen last year from you guys, Targamas. And I know that you were in the starting lineup for Karmine's debut in the LEC last year. How different are you feeling things compared to last year? The mood with the team and everything, what is different this time?
I mean, I think everything is different. I think in summer it was already starting to be good. Like, I have to mention that I was really happy working with Closer and Upsets. Like, I think they helped us a lot. And it's a shame that we couldn't make it to World when we were so close, right? Mm-hmm. Like, people often forget that we actually are one place away, kinda, in summer. But yeah, this year is completely different. I think the motivation is like insane. I think I've never seen this much motivation, like even in G2. And also the talents, like I think we have so much talent all around the team.
Yeah.
I mean, Kana, Yike, obviously people know Kalista is being hyped up, but I have to mention Vladdy as well because he's not really getting any credit with like all the stars that we have in the team. But I think he's actually like already one of the best, and I think by the end of the year he will be the best.
And Yike, new jersey, new colors, new team, new responsibilities as well. You said in PGL last night that you were taking a bit more of a leader role maybe within this team. Can you tell me more about this and how different is what you're doing compared to G2?
Yeah, I mean, I talked about it because we played with Kalista and Vladdy now, who are both new players, and Kana as well, who doesn't speak English fluently, so it's harder for him to communicate. So I said it's mostly me and Targamas taking like the leader role in the game, and I think we're doing it pretty good, you know, so far, 2-0. So I think I'm happy with us playing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we're doing very good. And I'm just looking forward to playing more games because I think we're doing it good. I'm doing like mostly, I guess, early game stuff, and then Targa is talking a lot about macro, and is like very smart about it.
Targamas being a leader in the game, all the respect, but that's not what we kept on hearing last year. What changed?
I mean, I think I already talked about it a bit. Like, I think I kind of changed my mentality. It's not like I was not talking before, but I really just realized some stuff that I needed to do in game. But also, I think when you work with like a very talented player, it's also easier to play and to talk, right? Yeah, I'm just really happy. Well, like with everything we've been doing. Also, it's like Kalista is also really confident in the comms. Like, I think that helps a lot when you have a carry that he's only playing his first week of LEC, but he's already saying, okay, this game I will actually 1v9. Like, I think the 2 games, he was always saying, guys, actually, they can't do anything to me. I will 1v9 them.
Oh my God.
When you have a player that says that, you're already feeling confident. You know?
So confidence from the get-go. It showed on the Rift as well. Yike, what can we predict for this Karmine Corp team? What is going to be your style if you were to make expectations and predictions for the team?
I mean, for sure, I'm going to see us like as an aggressive team, but I think our style, it's hard to say. I think we're like very, very insane mechanically. I think like team fights, I don't think a single team here could beat us. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But I think we're really talented that way.
Excited to see what's more for you guys. Last question, not really a question actually, but these guys were so loud that actually I feel like they want to talk to you directly. Targamas, Yike. I didn't get that, but I think it's best. Do you guys want to say anything to your fans today?
Yeah, I mean, it feels awesome to see you guys back after last year. We know it was like difficult for the fans last year, like not only the competitive side, but also the supporter side. So I appreciate you guys being like back in the studio and Riot also making it work. Et ouais, merci les gars beaucoup pour tout. Et voilà, on va vous rendre fiers cette année.
Thank you so much. We're going to make you guys proud.
What an incredible play there from...
Oh, that was incredible. You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What
get into...
a move! He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. I think he's got it all. He's got the bad.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move! Wait, is he switching lanes?
Red Bull gives you wings.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid workers, artists, backing your every move.
Well, it's a classic for the next game, but not as you know it, as G2 and BDS take to the Rift. This in the past has been a fun best of 5. It's been one that G2 in the past have definitely held ownership of, but in a best of one. Exciting to see new forms here as myself, Hysterics, and Nymaera take you through our second last game of the day.
BDS has obviously gone through a lot of changes, not like G2 hasn't, but I think BDS probably come out the side, which I'm questioning, have they kept their same identity? I think they forged a very good identity in their previous iteration, where I think they peaked, I think it's fair to say, as a top 2 team, maybe even within the LEC at various points. Sadly, didn't come at the most important points of the split. And now the question is, all right, you have stripped out some of these parts. You brought in an entirely different roster besides your mid and your AD carry. Can you build that again as we get into this draft against G2? Both of these teams coming off of, I suppose, an unexpected loss, especially for G2. Maybe, okay, maybe that's underselling Karmine Core a little bit. Both coming off of losses from day one.
Well, let's see where they go going into this game, because at the very least, seeing the Corki ban means we walk away from an AD carry, or rather mid lane of last game. Something we saw last game as a priority pick was that Kalista. Also add in the Rel, since I feel like Rel is a very big champion right now in EU. 100% present so far.
Yeah, I suppose so. The thing about the Rel is, like, I don't always feel like Rel is like your game-winning character. It's just like the one which fits with everything that can also win you the game. So it's like there's never a point where you feel like, oh, I've got a Rel. It's like Rel's always powerful like that. Getting through these first rounds of bans, we're going to get either one of Victor or Kalista through, which have been very, very powerful in the current meta so far, amongst, of course, a bunch of other things. But Victor gone, yeah. I mean, obviously Kalista for Hansam are one of the better Kalista players we've had in our region historically.
So where do we go with the first pick? That Kalista's still up and available. I like that we are banning Victor. It just feels nice. Jace also first pick worthy. I'll add in as well, as when I think of people like Broken Blade, Caps, very strong, dominant solo laners. I like the idea of giving them some kind of presence early. Here is Vi's another one that historically we've seen banned.
Yeah, and the thing about Vi is that Vi just opens up so many different kind of combinations you can work with. I don't love Vi as a first pick, because I think you can punish her in the level 1, level 2, because she really needs level 3 to fight. So if you have strong early game plans, you can start to really push it down. But it opens up better Talia angles, better Orianna angles, a bunch of other things which can really empower your mid laners, especially when you're empowering Caps. That's a good thing.
Side note, you can hear the audience. They're singing happy birthday because it is Broken Blade's birthday today. It's funny, there's like a massive line. 2 days ago, it was GB's birthday. Yesterday, it was Odoamne's birthday. Today, it's Broken Blade's birthday. It's just funny that we've got 3 LEC birthdays in a row.
Yeah, it's really convenient, guys. Thanks for being born like that.
Yeah.
Skewmond hovers over his one trick. Fun fact, by the way, I only remember this in off-season. I cast Skewmond in the division below NLC in 2021.
Oh, really?
Back in UK LC. And he was still a Nunu one trick even back then, way before he even touched the larger ERL system and the LEC. It's been a long time he's been playing that.
He pulled it out in the last Amir Masters as well, from memory, so that dude loves the champ, and hopefully we get to see it over the course of the split or even over the course of this year, as that Kalista's locked in. So we come back to what G2 want to do, and it does feel like a very big meta read. That picture of Caps is unnerving. Holy moly!
He stares into your soul.
Big fan, and then I look up a bit, and I see Caps gawking.
It's like the last thing you see before Akali R2s you.
Oh. Wait, is it going to be the first? Nah. Okay, we get the 2v2 we saw last game.
We've not had I guess we've only had the 1 day of games. I was thinking, oh, it feels weird not to see an Ambessa.
We've not had Ambessa yet.
So we can potentially look forward to that as it goes. Well, see if it makes through the second round of bans from BDS. If it's already been hovered, the Kalista Renata saw that in the last game. Of course, didn't come away with a win, but very, very powerful as a duo. Of course, we know that the Varus can survive the lane against the Kalista, and actually did quite well at it. I think Kalista, normally you want to swap away from it. The Varus means that you can just stick in that 2v2 if you want.
True. Last time with the poke, it was very impactful, so we'll see this time if it goes back to the on-hit, as Sejuani's been another jungler in the LEC that's really been looked at highly. Our most played jungler now, in fact, as well.
I would have found it really funny if you said, Sejuani's just another jungler in the LEC.
I mean,
that's it.
It really is.
Objectively true. Congratulations.
It's crazy in LPL, which I know you've also been watching, that like we go to like game 2, game 3, game 4, and the Sejuani drafts start coming out in Fearless because they run through the drafts. Like these back to front or front to back comps. But in LEC, we're like, no, we're priority picking this jungler as our most popular.
And, you know, later in, when we get towards playoffs, we'll get to see, of course, Fearless over here as well. There is a very different flavor, though, when you go into game 1 and you start thinking, okay, well, what are we viewing as S-tier picks? Sometimes when you get into later into Fearless, which again, well, it's less relevant now. Sometimes you try and pick something a little bit oddball because you can save something else later into the draft. This is just all of the S tier that you can possibly get across the place. We see a rare Cassiopeia ban, of course, against Nuke, who's Played a lot of that in the past. One of the best anti-tank mid laners on the patch, if you really want to go towards something like that too. Also very good anti-mobility with that miasma. If you're looking for anti-mobility champions, I guess you've also got the Poppy, I suppose, if you want to lock that into support for Parus, but a little bit hard to play the laning phase, though, if you go up against that Renata.
I will say, though, there is one thing I'm seeing that is left open for someone like Parus as well that could be picked up on board, which, say whatever you want about the Kalista Renata lane, Parus is a fantastic rel, and we have just been seeing rel over and over again. Again, reminding everyone here, 100% pick ban presence, so let's see if it slips through. Let's see if Dylan Falco pays the respect to BDS.
Last bans coming through. Going to assume that we're going to see support picked up now, and then we'll have counterpick for Nuke in that mid lane, just knowing the matchup against Caps. You don't really want to give Caps a good angle. We know that come what may, whatever happens with G2, if Caps has a good matchup and a good way to play, that is also quite another picture in the background with the hand reaching out. It's like his vibe checking you through the picture on the wall.
We really went all out for the pictures this year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. That's where our creativity's come from.
BDS missed a ban, by the way, as Seraphine gets locked in, so I'm just going to assume right now this goes to Parus' support.
I mean, it would be a little strange to see it blind picked into a mid lane, so I assume it would be picked into that bot lane. Of course, if you get the E landed from the Varus and then the E lands from the Seraphine, it then upgrades the E. If it goes from a slow, then the E will then root, then stun on the second. There's a whole chain of things with the Seraphine. Can be very powerful, as we do get Birthday Boy Broken Blade getting the Ambessa in the top lane.
What a treat. Hey, you know, what'd you get for your birthday today? Yeah, pair of socks, new pair of underwear, and Dylan let me play Ambessa. What a treat.
It's a fine present, that one. Really has been fun to see this champion make its way onto the Rift. I think that, initially I thought, oh my god, this champion's going to be so OP. Kind of feels like an AD Sylas, which is, of course, the 8B and the original locked in for Caps in the mid lane.
A lot of spinning going to happen here in the solo lanes here by Caps and Broken Blade. So G2 full on in the skirmishing this game. Holy moly, I'm excited to watch them in action in the first 20 minutes as on the other side, BDS have got good scaling here, Nymaera. What would add into the mix of that?
Well, you are playing against a lot of melees, and the Orianna can do really well. As we mentioned this kind of in the last game, described it's kind of the minefield. You have to kind of run through this really difficult terrain. The shockwave can be very, very powerful if you start trying to dive into it.
I've just been told in my ear that it wasn't a misban by BDS, by the way. It was a Gragas ban. So, no. BDS did not forget a ban. It was Gragas. It was just an issue on our side. As we get into game, and G2 versus BDS, you got to remember, like, BDS's story last year was a little bit sad in the sense that this is a team that was third in winter playoffs, third in spring playoffs, third in summer playoffs, got to season finals, and didn't make it through. G2 were always in their way. And then if it wasn't G2, it was Fnatic. And then if it wasn't Fnatic in winter, it was Mad. So they had a really rough year where we didn't see any international representation after 2023 when this team made it in the in the qualifying match against Golden Guardians. So for BDS, it is a bit about redemption. As for G2, as happy birthday, Broken Blade. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. I think he's 27 today. Woo. I talked to him yesterday. It was 11:45 at night when we were recording something special. 25, I've been told. Production just slapped my wrist. He looks great.
Wow, I talked to him yesterday to definitely confirm this fact. Oh, no, I got it wrong.
I think I remember because I said to Broken Blade, I'm like, oh, you're like 27 tomorrow, right? And I think he corrected me. I think he just laughed me out. We were playing a quiz game, so I'm sorry. Yo, BB, no harm, bro. You look great. 25.
Just don't look to Jake if you're looking to get your facts checked, folks. Go elsewhere.
Yo, as far as I know, people like Dagda's like 40, you know? But Dagda, you look great. No, he's not. Chat, I'm not telling you how old he is. It's none of your business. It's rude that you asked. Look, the G2 crowd, they're hyped up. They want a good year out of these guys, and especially yesterday after losing to KC.
Yeah.
I mean, they need a good bounce back here against BDS.
Now, one thing which is kind of interesting to me, again, actually, is so yesterday had a bunch of lane swaps coming through. They're obviously very prevalent within the meta now. The last two games that we have had, though, have been actually standard lanes instead. We've been opting towards them. I obviously like to see a good balance of both. I think it's healthy for the game that we don't just have all of just lane swaps. I like them. They're a good strategy to bring across, but having stuff like, Hansama, BB, and Caps getting those kind of standard lanes, of course mid lane tends to be standard lanes anyway, I think it's really important to kind of showcase their skill sets in that, because that's how they've ruled the LEC for a long time. It's really good laners.
Yeah, true. I mean, again, seeing the 2v2, for everyone at home, just getting that rejuvenation, outside of lane swaps is something nice to bring you in for game 4 of the day. Is Hansama and Labrov having a pretty good time in their natural lanes, as you'd expect, as Parus on this Seraphine trying to play through range, using ice as well with Hail of Arrows, but they're pressuring up. They're looking for that handshake that seals the deal and gets the early summoners out. While Broken Blade doing the same thing, and yeah, on this Ambessa as game sounds come back to us. Just a quick reminder, first one of the LEC so far.
And that Ambessa going to be really important in a number of different ways, because G2, when this goes later into the game, I mean, they're basically 4-ish melee / low range. You know, the Kalista sometimes counts as both of them. Cavs takes a hard trade though.
Yeah, really hard trade actually. Nuke, nicely done.
Well, imagine that late game where Caps is trying to dive in and do a bunch of damage and trying to survive through it as well.
True.
Much like we saw that last game, you're going to have to make it through stuff like that Shockwave. I think it's also important to note that the Seraphine brings, I suppose, a similar-ish ultimate to the Renata in terms of don't step in it when it's thrown at you, and it goes through the entire team fight.
Yeah.
Like similar kind of genre to the Nami tidal wave as well. The thing about the Ambessa, particularly for the Broken Blade, making this point come full circle, you blink to them. You don't have to go through that. You just end up kind of, you know, teleports behind you, nothing personnel kid, and then you just kind of run over the team fight that way.
So whoever at last hits as well as Ego, there's that handshake, as I said, in the 2v2, trying to find the moment. Parus in trouble and dead. Hans Mama with his first blood.
Well, I said I enjoyed watching the standard lanes, particularly for G2, powerful laners. That's why you might want to lane swap away from something like a Kalista on the other side, immediately punishing that 2v2 early into the game. First blood, the first feat of strength picked up for G2.
And look at the CS lead on top of that as well. 500 gold and then some is the lead for this 2v2. Will be... Oh, it is nice to be back. Broken Blade's going to miss the cannon, but it's his birthday. Give him a break. He's fine. He's doing
you know
well
what? I actually didn't even notice that. I was looking at something else. So
all I do is notice cannons now. You know, after playing like a solid straight year at top lane, it's just cannon.
Do you think that is the League of Legends version of bird watching, cannon watching? You know, you just turn up and like, oh, that's the lesser spotted cannon.
It does interest me where people would think I'm a bore by talking about it. So yes, it is probably exactly bird watching.
Yeah, I know. Sejuani has that problem all the time. Bristle, you know.
Yeah. Okay.
I explained my own joke and therefore invalidated it.
Yeah, I mean,
sad. I've lowered my own standards.
I would have gotten the Quinn. You know, the Quinn would have been good. I've really been with you for that one. But, but yeah, don't worry. I explain my jokes all the time, and they don't get funnier from there. You kind of just deal with it and hope that people move on.
Buddy, I've known that for years. Don't have to. Yeah, you don't have to go down this road again.
I explain my jokes not making sense. That's so much worse. By the way, you can see what's on your screen. There's a dragon going down. I don't need to explain that for you as well as TP used top.
Yeah, and the big thing about that TP being used top is that it's answering the dominant Kalista switching up for the Herald, not the Herald, Grubs, that one much earlier on. Because this is just one of the easiest ways to work around these kind of powerful winning lanes. Even if you swap away from the winning lane, and in the case of a lane swap, we've seen this a bunch, of course, over the last couple of days, they go towards the side of the map where they want to take these big objectives. Because you have that Ambessa and the Kalista who can really push down lanes and threaten to use those Grubs well, taking these early objectives very, very powerful.
Yeah, and look, getting the starter feat to strength, I know we talk about it a lot, but just keeping you at home informed that you need all 3 Grubs. The only week that we remind you is all 3 Grubs taken in the end as well. And we switch our camera back to mid because the good thing about BDS right now, I'd say one of the few good things with all the other lanes going awry, is that Nuke is holding his own and playing the range matchup real nice.
Yeah, I think Orianna currently is the best laning mage in the meta. Like, it's kind of been the case whenever Orianna's been around because of her clockwork windup, the ability to kind of blast hit with autos whilst also kind of hitting you, multitasking. Things on separate CPUs or something. The cores of the CPU. Yeah.
Okay.
Liza just kind of do everything. Doesn't get the shockwave though.
Caps had enough, only just enough for the abscond duck.
That is absolutely exactly what he needed though. Get caught by that one. Nuke sadly not able to get anything more than that. Still has himself that early lead, as you're saying though. Which means that he'll potentially get himself a better first back for the first really big fights of the game.
Well, we just keep switching up to this bit of a slug up in the top lane. Now that top has been kind of forgotten though with Grubs going down. Next thing to really look at is that spawn in 3 minutes of the next round of that dragon that'll line up in the same vein as well of Hansama, who's now back in bot, ready to battle out this 2v2 as Ice moves into lane as well. Tries to just step up. Remember, he is going on hit Varus this game, so he's not going to be able to poke out the same effect that we saw Kalista last game on KC.
Yeah, and that is going to be a very different flavor for the big team fights because you don't get to play from your Q range against stuff like the Vi, Sylas, Ambessa trying to just pile on you. You also don't get something like an Edge of Night, which you can sometimes get in those lethality games as well. Not that it's great against Vi anyway, if it was that build, because it spikes it off before you hit with the ultimate. Not the nicest interaction, but all the same. Yeah. Ice is going to have a hard time, I think, playing out these team fights. I think if G2 just end up dunking down on Ice and Nuke doesn't get a big shockwave, your DPS is gone. In fact, that's a really big worry for BDS. They have one consistent damage source in the Varus. Orianna can struggle to be that, especially in the mid game before you get tons of damage up. If BDS lose Ice, I think the team fight goes quickly with it. So watch out for that in our first big fights to get. Obviously a little bit off that yet.
I mean, I feel like in 2 minutes we might get a bit of an answer for it because first item should be coming through when these on-hit AD carries really start feeling their flavor. And that's one thing as well that a lot of pros are talking about. A lot of analysts here already have started mentioning. These AD carries just fight so well, these early objectives, especially when objective control is the name of the game right now in League of Legends. As Ice has Chains of Corruption, but a Fate's Call is available for Hans Summer. They spot the pig around the wall, but Hans doesn't care, goes in anyway. Skewmond's also on the way in, but 113 just jumps on him. Hans flashes away, but a Permafrost about to reach. Ulti instead connects it, but saved by Skewmond. They then re-engage. Hans dives away and cuts his way through, avoiding the piercing arrow. Ice flashes, but I fear he's one auto away. And Labrov hits him with his little pistol and takes him down as Parus runs back to the turret. And G2 played with fire for that nasty skirmish.
Yeah, G2 knew that BDS knew that they were going for the players. The next level. They see that 1-1-3 is there, but they managed to call down their own jungler as well. And they say, all right, let's brawl, let's go for the 3v3. And they absolutely come out on top. We already said it's going to be a difficult game for Ice to play later on. Giving over so much gold and losing your own gold as well. By not being in lane to farm this up as you're dead. It's definitely not going to help your case later into the game.
I'm sure we're going to watch this in a second, but I feel like Skewmond, right in the nick of time, played that so well. And the new jungler of G2 stepping up big to give Hansama, the carry of G2, at least in this game, a bit of extra leverage. I
think we're starting to see why Kalista's banned so much. It's really not nice to play against the early game. And you already said, hey, AD carries fighting early game, kind of their thing right now. So a lot of the AD carries in meta. And yes, if Skewmond can start to help kind of leverage around that huge laning advantage now that the 2v2 has, it's really good for him because he had a weaker start, I suppose, than that last game where I think a lot of people were raising some eyebrows at the smite key at several key moments.
Yeah, but that was against Yike. I mean, that's the problem. Like, G2 kind of just said, yeah, Yike's our jungler, isn't he?
But it's nice to have like those visible, yes, I could be proud of this, people could be excited, but sometimes just the dopamine hits really well. Grub started from BDS trying to stop G2 getting a full house of that.
Yeah, speaking of dopamine, does Skewmond want a little piece of this pie as Labrov and Hansama feel like they want to sit on the edge and get something out of it, but no. Instead, all three grubs given over to BDS. They've got their own piece of the feats of strength as well. So 3 means that G2 are denied the mites.
However, one of the things which I'm not the... Hang on, that's going to be a bit of...
sneaky.
Okay. How much can they get out of this, though? You do have Skewmond there. Doesn't have flash. It'd be hard to make that. And Labrov will show himself on the way out. Going back to what just happened around those grubs, because I think it is important to talk about this.
Please.
I don't think that every team in Europe is very good at kind of saying, no, I'm not going for this objective. Let's do something on the other side of the map. Due to that, they don't go and do what I call Safari League of Legends, where you look after that out of the left window and you'll see a wild grub down your right window and there's a dragon. You don't do anything about them, you just watch the wildlife. They choose not to go towards the grubs, they instead push bot lane instead, get Broken Blade, a bunch of plates, gets himself the Eclipse in this back. He's happy with the gold he's got in addition.
I guess the difference is, it's like a safari with a gun, which,
No.
You just...
No!
You shouldn't be doing that.
No, absolutely not. No. Why would you even mention that?
Because there's too many objectives to take.
It's like, wow, this is like Graves Jungle all over again.
It really is.
Why would you even mention that?
Because you said it was Safari, and I thought, yeah, but we're killing the objectives.
I, for one, believe in the conservation of dragons.
I do as well.
Leave it alone.
I am for saving this dragon.
Endangered species. I feel really sad now. Why have I... This is not the time.
Into this, you know who I am.
Yeah, I have. No, observers, no.
No.
It's just a small...
Oh my lord.
It's only been alive like 5 minutes.
He just kind of withers.
That's a 5-minute-old dragon baby.
Oh lord, we're thinking about that. Shockwave used by Nuke, by the way. Didn't get any connection while Broken Blade's about to get first turret. Yeah. As Dragons go down. Side note, Broken Blade unable to find it. He gets on out at the public execution, but no one dies. For 113, he calls his emergency service, finds himself a jungler in his face. Broken Blade starts lacerating out, and he gets his spacing. Skewmond is a hero.
Is that Broken Blade or Houdini? You tell me. He makes it out. Escape artist with the public execution. Does get trapped under that turret, forces the fancy moves, but BB, the birthday boy, gets himself a mighty fine clip out of that one.
Skewmond is just always there. What a pain. Like 113 always trying to set up. As Broken Blade teleports back in, he wants his first turret, and you can see the damage is there. The cunning sweep. Sundering Slam follows suit and trying to get Irrelevant out of lane to again get this first turret that'll get the feat of strength.
Yeah, and well, Irrelevant doesn't have ult now to force a real all-in. BB should be able to just walk up here and start taking down this turret. Irrelevant, in fact, actually might need to be a little bit afraid of his HP bar as well. Tries to clear out the wave. BB will soon get this turret.
I mean, she's so broken. When you have Shield Bash here,
yes.
A reason why I believe Broken Blade does not have Demolish.
Yep.
The fact that you go Eclipse, you've also got yourself a Repudiation as well. It's just always a shield.
This is a bit of a spoiler for tomorrow. I'm going to talk a bit about the tank builds in the pre-show over that one. But there is a big thing about the top laners right now is going Resolve Runes really helps you in a bunch of ways in laning phase, but it also converts your ability to, you know, from being tanky to also doing damage to towers and stuff like that with Demolish, or doing a bunch of damage to the Shield Bash, especially when you get stuff like Fimbulwinter, so you can be very, very powerful. Okay. And BB there with the Shield Bash, especially after the buffs it got last year, it got like an extra 1% HP scaling, very powerful.
Shockwave comes through though. Caps is going to be safe for now. Not enough burst in the tank for Nuke because he runs out of mana as well, but that used as an attempt as we look towards top. And right now it ain't about shield bash, it's about bashing heads of BDS. Skewmond's here again in the face of the pig, and you can see BDS are just cunningly holding their position because Hansummer with the next wave is going to find another turret top.
Will do. It's one of the, again, this is the wrecking ball of the Kalista with Skewmond in the back pocket. And I think you've really been highlighting Skewmond so far in this game. You're absolutely right to do so. He's just making sure he is there with the important, powerful parts of the map. Plays like this.
He didn't back away. BDS both left, but Parus left plays lonesome now. He flashed away, but even with a bit of a la-la-la-la from Parus, it doesn't matter. Skewmond flashes as well. Escape artist in the G2 jungle. Now with another Vault Breaker. Yakety sacks from BDS as they try and chase its buy. That is uncatchable. Labrov, question mark, nah. You don't kill people from G2 this game, apparently.
Extra combo comes through from Nymaera, can't finish anything. That has got to be so gutting for BDS. You're standing there just like, oh, definitely an easy kill onto BB. Okay, well, Skewmond's definitely got to be dead here. You know, put all of his ultimates into the play, just can't get it done.
And then look at what's happening bot Nymaera. I mean, because of all the attention from Irrelevant top, where they tried to stop this other turret going down, Ambessa gets solo time. Another birthday gift, I guess, this time from BDS, as they put their attention towards topside still, and Irrelevant had to back away and match him.
Yeah, and again, it's just another kind of example of G2 being really good at saying, all right, if something's happening somewhere on the map, there's an opening somewhere else. Yep. Caps is trying to force an opening here by himself.
It's been the most quiet Caps game I've seen in a while, but now he's into action as level 11 with a hijack and a permafrost, or rather, Glacial Prison in his inventory, just as Herald spawns.
Caps very happy to make some plays. What are you doing there, Ice? He's flashing out is what he's doing. A bit too far off.
Well, now that that flash is down, Herald feels like a foregone conclusion as Broken Blade just wants to dance around a little bit. He almost took down that inner turret bottom with the next wave. Again, that would be another falling objective.
So, Herald started up on this top side. You see that Skewmond, of course, contested a little bit around this. Has the level advantage and good gold lead. Onto 113 currently as it stands. Black Cleaver will really help Ambessa get some extra damage too on that Kalista. Are they looking for a fight though? BB doesn't have teleport. They shouldn't really be looking for this. Again, it's mainly just allowing BB to push up, get some individual gold, and make sure BDS are behind on the map.
They also get the inside track towards mid as well. So for G2, giving this up, maybe it's all for the credit that comes with the golden bot. Comes with a bit of damage towards mid. Caps getting to push out top.
Yeah, and I think the reason why G2 are okay giving up the Herald, I mean, obviously it's good for BDS to have that objective. I'm not saying it's never a bad thing to have an objective.
Herald is nice.
But it's going to be a little bit hard to use it, because if you have to overextend to use the Herald, G2 just pounce them. You cannot you cannot disrespect G2's engage, especially when their teleports are coming back up. They're both on both these solo lanes now as well, and you're getting stuff like, you know, flash ults going into the equation. BDS, though they have this Herald, the thing for me is them using it safely, responsibly, not just get pounced on by G2.
Maybe opening up the mid turret feels like the natural the setup here, especially when BDS are fighting from behind, opening up the map. Against 4K gold G2 right now. that have had such a great setup in this game. I mean, BDS, so many plays that have gone awry. We've already mentioned it over and over again. And Skewmond keeps getting away. G2 keep getting away. It's Broken Blade. Damage coming through now. They also get away with the blue buff. As Dragon's just sitting there waiting. It's a Chemtech stole this game, but G2 are going to start off the stacking.
They are, and of course, with Kalista, means it's kind of like a foregone conclusion if you get to sit on that one at first. Of course, got Atakan will be the next big objective after that point, coming up in just the next few minutes.
Which Atakan do you think it'll be?
Well, with 3 kills in 18 minutes.
I mean, to be fair, if there was a lot of trade, like a hell of a lot of trading in lane, with 3 kills it's still possible. However, it's not going to be.
I aspire to have the amount of copium you've just displayed there.
Last game wasn't copium, though, I will say. Last game was
that was genuine hope. We were standing like, wow, we've got
There's no way that wasn't a ruin
6 minutes. Yeah.
I think it's so rigged.
I just want to see one game where we get the 6 grubs and then the runners hang on.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be careful with that. But if you get 6 grubs and then the bonus kind of objective buff on it as well, Tower's dying about 6 autos. Very, very fun to see how much damage you can do across that.
And again, the 25% buff. It feels so broken as well. Can get the Dragon stacks up as that Herald that you talked about. It is actually used bot in the end. And for BDS, some standing gold that's being taken down. They're shortening that gap ever so slowly.
And I think the important thing is here, BDS, they don't overforce on mid, where I think G2 would have been ready to respond. BD is going to walk up. And they also just send 3 people to the Herald here on the sideline and say, look, okay, we have good vision control here. We're not letting G2 just going to teleport on us. In fact, they go to the lane off one of those teleports off that Ambessa, and they make sure that there's no opening for G2 to just kind of instantly pounce on them as they use that Herald, which was one of the worries which I had. So good job.
Rory's gone. I mean, BDS backing away safely as well, not caught out. It's not like they lose anything on the map as well as they left Ice towards mid.
How far did 113 just blast plant? He just did like the double super blast plant.
He did.
I like to think of those blast cones as like the ones which have been watered with proper energy drink. They do not look normal.
No, they do not. You know, they're not. They're not, because Chemtech sold. They're definitely not. What is in Chemtech? I mean, okay, by the way, I want to apologize to everyone. I haven't watched Season 2 of Arcane.
You haven't?
Because first of all, I was away.
Yeah.
And I started watching Suits. Because I thought one day maybe I'll be a lawyer. You know, I was the lawyer for the Shy for years.
Yeah.
That dude I represented in court many times.
How did you feel about that Worlds Finals where you got a record-breaking low KDA? How did that?
Yeah, but. My client, he didn't want to comment at that time because I think he was being entered by his team. But that was because he went through a year of it. And also, it's not his fault, bro. Like, look at T1 were very good. Anyway, Season 2 of Arcane. I haven't watched it, but I hear it's very good. I hear it's better than the first season. And obviously, like, when I came back to League of Legends after my holiday, I'm like, yo, Victor looks a bit weird.
He looks a little bit.
It looks a bit weird. Parus, you look strange being there. That TP by Broken Blade going to tell you exactly why. You see with that Lacerate, he's getting into position. He's starting to spin. Ice doesn't have a chance here, but BDS have taken 2 members with them. Good shutdowns onto the Kalista as the public execution fails, but the Shockwave does not. BDS are doing better in this fight than you'd expect. In a 3v3, Nuke's also got space. G2 are losing this until Broken Blade comes down, shuts down, and takes them all out with him. Irrelevant's trying to do the same thing, but again,
baby,
just can't kill Ambessa, the birthday boy with a birthday ace.
Look, Varus goes down, you don't have your DPS. BDS, it looks good at the intro, there's a fun shockwave, but they just don't have the staying power and the anti-tank differential, really. Ice, he's trying to stick around to protect Parus, but realistically, that's the mistake which puts him out of sorts. He doesn't have the flash up, he can't really get away from this, he gets completely zeroed out, and even though there is a good shockwave, your Varus is gone. You don't have the damage after that point. G2, they know that even if it looks a little bit messy after that point, they just have the better stats and the better champions for the job.
I mean, it looked close, but it's a 6.5k gold lead after that win of a fight as well. Broken Blade is almost 3,000 gold ahead of Irrelevant. And I mean, Irrelevant's a great top laner, but here in this game, like, the Ambessa's been the one who stayed in lane, the Ambessa's been the one who's played the map better in sides. This is a performance we've ever seen, one out of our first Ambessa of the year.
Yeah, and it's going to be really, really important to see how Broken Blade can get onto the Varus. Again, fantastic pick there, because again, the primary objective of G2's team fight is to make sure that Varus is just not happy. Given the Roman treatment, I suppose. As we get towards this Atakan potential starting up on the bot side of map, G2, they have even more gold to spend than ever, going towards their 3rd items shortly after this point, and Irrelevant is a little bit caught here.
There's good damage coming out as well. Caps almost gets the top of him, but enhanced blast cone, Red Bull blast cone. Wow, we need to throw that in. Red Bull, if you'd like it, we can put you on a blast cone as well, as Atakan's going to start off. It's exactly the one you thought about, by the way, as Broken Blade zones off and BDS just has to walk into this. It feels like this Atakan could be doomed.
Could be. BB just hanging off on the side, has eyes on ice. Really hard for BDS to get into the right terrain here. BB's just sitting there. There's got to be such a danger on that Varus.
I mean, Caps sung a note, and it was a good one as well. As he zones them out, you can see the other one in reverse from the Seraphine means a bit, but the Berserk, the Shockwave in return. G2 in front of Atakan, that's shredding their health bar. It's getting destroyed. BDS now take it from under their grasp, and this is why you don't team fight while you're trying to butcher Atakan.
Oh my word, Nuke just absolutely destroys them. Just gets a huge shockwave, and while I thought, okay, it'll be about the Varus, I mean, if you get a good ultimate like that, you can absolutely win your team fight. So BDS, they get themselves the Atakan, they get themselves a lot of gold from those big kills as well. They'll get themselves a Dragon. Huge turnaround for BDS.
A massive one. I mean, they're also going to stop the Dragon stacking, or rather, that soul point that G2 are about to acquire, and yeah, it's still 5k gold leads, but BDS, you're going to watch here how they just nuke this fight.
Now, I sometimes have some really fun, like, nostalgia flashbacks. I'd like to remind you of one that we made here, homegrown within Europe, the 4K ELO Shockwave.
Oh, yeah.
Lord, way back in the day, maybe channeling a little bit of that as we get this group up around the Atakan. Yes, you are taking a low shred here at 4-man Shockwave with regards to Nuke.
Very nicely done. It doesn't mitigate the whole game, but they've got Atakan, they've got the GA buff, and now let's see if that second life gives them the ambition to pull off one of these 5v5s that's not in front of a spiraling death thing. What is Atakan? What animal is Atakan if we're on the safari?
I think, if they're on a, look, I actually think the lore reason it's a demonic thing, but I don't know about the actual. Yeah, there's some special instructions.
I kept asking people, I thought it was Mordekaiser's wife, but apparently it's Mordecai, it's like a...
Yeah,
someone close to Mordekaiser.
I think there's some stuff in Legends of Runeterra which goes towards that, and there are some special voice lines with LeBlanc, I'm pretty sure, but I didn't look enough into it.
Well,
I thought that the Playboy players would be doing that.
I'm going to leave it as Mordekaiser's wife. We have Yorick's wife, we have Mordekaiser's wife. Okay?
So you're going to have like the League of Wags, like the wives and girlfriends?
I'm going to have Nikrit talking to me in DMs saying, actually, and you're more than welcome to correct me, Nikrit, if you actually know what's going on. As a handshake, waiting. Transcorruption stolen by Caps with a hijack. He sends it out and it roots. 1-1-3 in front of turret, but they've got themselves the GA. They're unfightable at this point if that was English. As outer turret goes down, inner turret the next siege, and I mean, BDS are clawing their way back in. Slowly but surely, a shot back to the two-man this time. Seraphine ulti is good as well, but look, perfect execution from Broken Blade in the backline has done the perfect thing. It's taken the juice out of BDS, but under turret, he's just burning GAs. But Broken Blade is burning the grey screen. Ice tanked the turret, funnily enough, while Irrelevant in the all-out is trying to get that inner down.
It's a decent force with the Sejuani ball delivery system. I don't often see it with that champion, but it works out well, especially with the Seraphine shields giving so much extra tankiness to Sejuani to just go completely ham in these fights. They take down a couple of kills, they'll take the gold from that. Sadly, doesn't lead into something like a Baron, which is the gold standard, I suppose, for the Atakan, where you get a really big objective after that. They are going to go towards it now, however, there is going to be a teleport on BB. If this fight goes long enough, or rather the take goes long enough, he might be able to teleport in to clean things up. BDS wants to make sure this is down sharpish, and especially with fight on the bot side of the map, there's in fact going to be no contest. BDS do get themselves the gold standard Baron after the Atakan.
I mean, this G2 is in dire straits. They were up 6,500 gold, almost 7k. They are now dead even at 26 minutes in the game. This feels like it's been a massive throw. I mean, we have seen globally Atakan throws LCK, LPL.
Yeah.
Now, definitely you can put that into LEC as G2 going dead even after that early game. Feels like it's absolutely rough.
Just walking up towards that turret, not much done. 1-3, gonna get engaged onto. Very tanky though.
Again, what's the emergency number here? As I call 1-1-3, he flashes out and Broken Blade as he teleports in with his taxi. Now ready to find his play. 1-1-3 is not going to heal up. Remember, it's not Warmog's meta on the Sejuani anymore, but still has a lot of health to play with in his own jungle. BDS looking for a play with their Baron as G2 back away.
Okay, Nuke looking towards those choke points yet again. This was the scene of the crime which led to the 4 deaths of G2 around the Atakan. BDS still just trundling forwards, trying to find any angle they can.
Nuke's also now 3 items strong too, by the way, so Shockwave is going to burn a little bit more than we saw it in the last play. which, as you said, already blew G2 apart. G2 are also angling to see if they can get the remnants of BDS. They see Nuke, they see Irrelevant, he gets out with the distance. Public execution missed from Broken Blade. That's the ulti down for the Ambessa as BDS still try to get their way up this lane. G2 scattering off as a 5-man unit, and the rest of BDS are finding their way back in.
Yeah, G2, you know, we said the composition, yeah, just get onto one of those carries. Maybe the Varus, just pile onto them. And the Ambessa ult is so important for that. If it misses, though, it means that they don't have the tools to stage off this range advantage and, of course, gold advantage now. Well, close enough to it. BDS looking for the siege.
You know what's even scarier than shockwaving?
Yeah.
Not shockwaving. Because Nuke just sends the ball in front of them, and G2 have to pay the respect because 2-3 members like it's been before, and the game could just be over.
G2, in precarious point, of course, it's even enough in gold, but they've lost the last big fight, and if they lost that from gold advantage, how does it go after that to points? G2 could actually be staring down the barrel of a very awkward start to the LEC. That's a big ult, though.
It is indeed, but who's the target onto? Onto Irrelevant in front line as the response from BDS seems a little bit better, and the takeover does nothing. BDS walk away. They've already got half a health damage here on the inhibitor turret. They'll walk up. They'll threaten from another lane.
BDS just deathballing now, using the Seraphine on multiple items, just keep that extra ability to go forwards, take an extra tower shot with the extra heals and shields. They're going to get themselves towards the third dragon. So BDS close towards that Chem Tech Soul, which will make it even harder for them to actually die in the big fights. Worth noting as well, I think this really is important about Chem Tech basic dragons. Sometimes we talk about the soul in terms of, you know, under 50% HP you get extra damage and healing. The base dragons give you heal and shield power as well as giving you tenacity as well. Both of them actually very huge in this game.
Oh yeah, you have a Seraphine and Orianna part of that. That's great. I mean, Cassante as well for some reason shields allies. Who thought that was a good idea? Well,
Cassante players.
Cassante.
I think that Ari should shield players as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they should also get like an Elder Dragon when you get 225 stacks. I hear that's really fun.
That is a good idea. Let's put an Elder. I like my job. I will stop right there. Let me just say to everyone out there that it does feel like for G2, Nymaera, it does feel like G2 have they run out of time. As BDS just scaled with an Enchanter and a front-to-back comp with an on-hit 3-item Varus and an Orianna that's on to her 4th item.
Yeah, unironically, I think it might be at that point now because of the Chemtech base dragons. 2 of them, an extra, was it 6% per stack?
6% each, yeah.
With the double shields going onto the Varus, if your job is to kill the Varus, it gets, you know, 12% plus harder on that. Really, really difficult to cut through that. Ice on the on-hit can kill the tanks, and if you don't kill him in melee range, gets 1 kill. Worth noting, Varus also gets a really powerful reset from his passive now. Gets a champion takedown. It's not as visible as the Jinx, but it'll do a hell of a lot of damage.
Yep.
G2 cannot miss their opportunity onto the Varus, and this timestamp might just end the game.
And you have to look at Irrelevant as well as he steps up. He's taking no damage right now as Broken Blade. His angle good, but what does it mean? They look for Nuke, he goes gold, and the hostile takeover launches through, but for BDS, again, this could still be their fight if they find that shockwave. I'm looking onto Hansama, good dissonance here as the ult used by Cease and Desist. Well, it's a bit of a mosh pit, but Broken Blade, even though he finds his way in, I feel like G2 need a miracle from Hansama, but he's dead. Nuke's still alive as well, as BB has to 1v4 this, because Labrov's out, Hans is dead, and G2 fall to the wayside. They've run out of time, and BDS know it.
The heals and shields are too much. BDS walked down the mid lane. BDS walked down the mid lane.
It feels like right now Nuke's playing like BDD, at least at his peak, I should say, because this Orianna, insane shockwaves you mentioned all game long. BDS playing the team fights much better, and at 31 minutes, they're now going to run into the base. Nexus turrets be damned. Labrov will watch as it comes down in ashes, and G2, the team that won championship after championship last year, that were always EU's representatives, are now starting winter 0-2.
Hand in hand, it has been a difficult start to the week for G2. Of course, one last chance to wrap things up with a win tomorrow for week 1, but that is not what you want from a team that has come off such an exemplary year regionally within the LEC. BDS taking a win here definitely put some pain into that.
I mean, for BDS though, let's be real, this is a brilliant start considering that they really needed this win. They've revamped their roster as well. We talked about it, like this is a big change when they're taking a risk on players like 113 when they've only got Nuke and Ice left remaining. It's good to see that those players step up as well. Remember, you can vote for your key player of the game. Is it going to be 113, Nuke or Ice?
I mean, the shockwave from Yike was so critical, but look, I appreciate the frontline ball delivery of 113 as well. Ice was the key part of the team fights later on. I mean, it's probably Nuke, but it was a team affair to keep the carries alive.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to have a quick break, and afterwards, Laure is standing by with Parus for a small interview.